Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, State Senator Heidi Gansert joins us for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Hello, is this D&D Roofing?
Yes, it is. How may I help you?
You did such a great job on my roof. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner.
Oh, can I speak to your supervisor?
Sure.
How may I help you?
I love your work. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner. We're all owners. Well, that's why at D&D we work so hard to keep your home safe and sound.
Oh, no wonder.
D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal. Local, employee-owned, here for you.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're always pleased to welcome back to the program State Senator Heidi Gansert. She represents District 15. She served in the Nevada Assembly from 2005 to 2011 as Chief of Staff to Governor Brian Sandoval from 2011 through 2012. Pleasure to have you back on the program.
Thank you for inviting me today.
We're taping this on Monday morning, and we're going to get this onto the website as soon as we can so that people can get the latest information. Last night on 60 Minutes, it was very interesting to see that the National Guard in New York State is now moving into the Jacob Javits Center to set up a hospital there, which is a huge convention center for people that may not know that, so that they can move people from the regular hospitals to the Javits Center so that they can free up the ICUs for the patients who need the desperate help. And of course, everybody knows that New York City has now become the epicenter of this coronavirus crisis. So my thought to you is, have there been discussions in Nevada with the National Guard in terms of opening up convention centers? I know that in Reno, the Reno Ballroom was opened up for the homeless, but certainly in Southern Nevada, Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas Sands, Wynn, even Caesars all have huge convention centers. Are we to that point yet?
You know, I'm not aware of any discussions at that level, but you never know. I think right now we're trying to get the message out for people to stay at home, keep a distance, wash your hands, do some really basic things to make sure that we stay safe. And the information I have is that you can stay safe. So again, keep that 6-foot distance between people. Constantly wash your hands if you touch anything, and those are some of the really key points, and also coughing or sneezing into your elbow.
And we should point out that your husband, even though he's not working right this moment, is an emergency room doctor. So,
right, he's an emergency room doctor, and something that I've done is I reached out to the head of Northern Nevada Emergency Physicians, Dr. Brett Fry, and Dr. Brett Fry is also head of the American College of Emergency Physicians in this state, and is on the board of medical examiners. And we're going to do a teletown hall tomorrow to reach out to constituents to try to get them more information. So he is a frontline expert, and we're going to take all questions. We're going to be about an hour. We'll be posting it on our Facebook page, and thank you for offering to have that posted on your Facebook page.
Sure.
Because I think people, there's a level of fear and anxiety, And when you get information from the front lines, hopefully that will help people understand what they can do to make sure they and their families are safe.
You know, it's interesting. There is a thing that astronauts have, and this is going to sound weird to bring this up, but Jim Lovell was on our program years ago, who went on Apollo 13, and he was the mission commander, and he talked about that burn where they had, in real time, about 30 seconds to make decisions to get that spacecraft home or not. And I talked to him about, you know, were you nervous? Did you panic? And he said, we're trained not to. He said, every second that you waste panicking or being nervous, you're not solving the problem. And so astronauts are trained not to panic. So with that in mind, what should we be saying to the public? Because so many people out there are scared to death. But if they take the measures you're talking about, they really don't need to be.
They can be safe. And so I think because this is all we're hearing about on the news, like 24/7 coronavirus, which is important that we get that messaging, but just the fundamental things that you can do, like we just talked about. You know, again, not touch your face. So stay 6 feet away, don't touch your face, cough into your sleeve. If you do touch something and you're out and about, go ahead and clean with Purell or wash your hands. And also limit your social circles. So I'm pretty much staying at home. My children may come home and visit, but limit your social circles. My parents were out of town and they came back a week ago. I haven't seen them. We talk on the phone, but I've not gone over there because they're 78 and 80 years old. So one person who touches another person who touches another person creates that network of the infection. So again, limit your social circle and take the precautions that we talked about.
And Nevada at this point in time, if you put the numbers into context, we really have barely been affected by this by comparison with other places like New York and Florida and other places where this epidemic is really going off. But if we don't control it, it could explode very rapidly.
Absolutely. We need to make sure that people, again, limit who they're contacting, right? And I've done many meetings on Zoom right now. It's extremely effective. There are ways to interact with people. And that's another thing that we haven't been talked about too much is that emotional, social interaction. It's pretty lonely. It can be very lonely for people at home. So get on FaceTime. Do a Zoom meeting with your friends. I had a friend who, her whole family met on Zoom last night just to get together. So they didn't have to be there in person, but they had that social interaction that's needed. So you can still have social interaction, but you can do it online. And so I'm really happy that we do have some social mechanisms and some ways to do that as far as technology.
You know, I think 2 months ago I had barely heard of Zoom. Now I hear nothing but Zoom.
Right.
And that's a good thing. You know, one of the other things that people should be concerned about, I think, is that you know, with the loss of jobs, with the social distancing, that sadly I think the suicide rate is going to skyrocket.
Yeah, it's very concerning. And you know what else is concerning? We have students at home all day with their parents, and maybe their parents are unemployed or maybe they're quarantined, but sometimes there's a lot of friction at home. And so another message I wanted to get out is I had a bill that implemented an app for students called Safe Voice. And Safe Voice was first up and running in 2018. The first year it had 6,000 tips. It's a way that students can use their device, their phone, and message if they need help. So if something's going wrong at home or if they hear that a friend is having a hard time at their house, even though K through 12 is not in the schools right now, that app, Safe Voice, again, Safe Voice works. So students, if they need something, they need to reach out because that messaging will go through the network and we can get them help if something's you know, not right at home or if there's trouble at somebody else's household.
One of the other things I wanted to bring up, which is that for the majority of people that are infected or become infected, this is not a life-threatening illness. This is something that is going to take perhaps as much as a week to get over, 2 weeks if you're being quarantined. But for most people, unless you are in a certain category, older or have other symptoms that may go along with this, this is not a life-threatening illness. Am I correct in that?
So I am not a medical professional,
of course.
But you know, that's what we hear. We hear that the folks who are immunocompromised have the hardest time with it, and those that are older. So that's basically what the data is showing right now.
And also, apparently, according to 60 Minutes again last night, obesity is an issue as well.
You know, I heard that as well.
But I don't think anybody's going to be dieting that quickly to take care of that. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back with more with Heidi Gansert after this time out.
I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and because I represent men in all family law matters, women often call me gender traitor, woman hater, and even disgusting. So why represent men and target myself with these offensive monikers? It's simple. Children with fathers in their lives are 6 times less likely to drop out of school, 15 times less likely to go to prison, and 5 times less likely to commit suicide. So ladies, you can hate me, but please love your children more than you hate their fathers.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Robnett, owner of Home Energy Experts. Has this ever happened to you?
Honey, did you remember to turn down the thermostat?
Forgetting to set the temperature? Not fun. We can help. Our new smart thermostat keeps the temperature set for your comfort all by itself.
I'm feeling hot now.
To increase your comfort, go to homeenergyexperts.com for details. That's homeenergyexperts.com.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with State Senator Heidi Gansert. She represents District 15. You served in the Nevada Assembly at the beginning and during the financial crisis that we saw in 2008. As you look at where we are now by comparison with where we were then, which was a desperate situation, how much worse do you believe this is today for Nevada?
I think it's going to be extremely difficult. I was looking at some information that the Department of Employment and Training and Rehabilitation put out, so DETR put out. We had almost 90,000 unemployment applications last week, I believe it was, and the peak during that time frame, during the recession for 1 week, just for 1 week, was about 9,000. So what we're seeing, 10 times, what we're seeing is a spike in the unemployment numbers. Now the federal government's going to provide significant relief. They're going to add, I believe it's $600 per week for paychecks. They're extending unemployment 13 weeks. So we need to figure out how to economically bridge folks. And I ended up serving, you're right, during the recession, and then when Governor Sandoval took office, I was his chief of staff. And that's when we went and we looked at economic development, we redid economic development, we really held the line on spending. To try to make sure that we could recover. So right now we're seeing this spike, which, and also with gaming closed down, gaming is 17% of the revenue to the state of Nevada, 17% of the general fund revenue to the state of Nevada. So our revenue overall is going to plummet for a period. So we need to figure out how to bridge economically for individuals and families to get through this. And I think I know some of the actions taken at the federal level, I'm so happy they worked in a bipartisan manner to really help get out some well-needed support to individuals and families.
That's going to take about 3 weeks for those checks to start coming. What are your fears?
And so, to add to that, they also are helping businesses. And so businesses are the engine. They are the employers. So my fear is that we're going to have businesses shut down. By this Friday, SBA is going to have loans, streamlined loans up and ready, disaster loans, and those loans can become grants if employers are able to keep their employees. So again, back to this economic bridge, if we can keep employers, small businesses open, if we can help folks who are immediately unemployed because we have a high level of service business jobs in the state, gaming jobs, if we can help keep them afloat, those are sort of the critical things, because this can be a V curve. We can drop down significantly and then pop back up if we can bridge it. If not, it's going to take a while for us to recover from this. The so-called L-share curve. The other thing to note about the SBA loans is that you can just go to your regular bank Absolutely.
That's how you do it. You don't have to file with the federal government. You go to your local banker, and they do all the paperwork to get you the loans, if I'm correct.
That's right. They're supposed to have the guidelines and everything up and running by this Friday, and you can go to your local bank. They're really trying to create, or have created, this broad network of access and trying to simplify the process as much as possible, which I think is critical.
And you mentioned the word grant, but really it's loan forgiveness. If people do not let go of employees but maintain them, then they could potentially see the loans forgiven.
That is my understanding. So loan forgiveness, which is really important. I think they've also talked about if you currently have an SBA loan, I believe they're giving you 6 more months and waiving sort of the principal and interest payments on that. So they're trying to help eliminate sort of that expense on the balance sheet or on the profit and loss income statement for a period of time to help businesses bridge till we get through this.
What about people like hairdressers, nail providers, barbers, people who are self-employed and are not corporations? What kind of relief have you seen so far for them?
So the federal bill also extends unemployment benefits to independent contractors, which is enormous. So hopefully they can get some help. I do know some folks are trying to still provide some services. So for instance, folks who do hair, they're creating the color that somebody may want their hair, and you can actually just pick it up and go instead of them applying it. So they're trying to find ways. They're trying to have people buy gift certificates and things like that. But my understanding is unemployment insurance has been extended to independent contractors.
On a lighter note, a lot of us are going to be wearing baseball caps here in about 2 weeks. It's not going to be pretty. All right, let's take another break and we'll come right back.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Come visit Design Outdoor's store and backyard to see our wide selection of fire pits, barbecues, and pizza ovens, natural stone water features and fountains, and frost-proof pottery. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
Can't do it. Stupid, like my mom.
We can't do anything at Mommy's because you won't pay child support.
Dad said you cheated, and he's not even sure he's my dad.
Mommy said you left both of us, so she isn't gonna let me see you. I look just like my father.
I'm divorce attorney Marilyn York, and I may represent men, but hate has no gender, only casualties. Please, stop sacrificing your children in your war against your ex.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with State Senator Heidi Gansert. Wanted you to repeat what you're doing with your Teletown Hall.
Okay, we're going to have a Teletown Hall 6 p.m. Tuesday night, and we're going to post it on Facebook, so you'll be able to find that information. Dr. Brett Fry, who is a board-certified emergency medicine physician on the front lines here at both Renowns, is going to be my guest. And essentially, we're going to do a brief introduction, and then we're going to open it up to questions. Anything that you have that's medically related, he should be able to answer. Again, he's board certified in emergency medicine, and he's head of the American College of Emergency Medicine for the state of Nevada, as well as he's a member of the Board of Medical Examiners, which is the controlling regulatory board for physicians in the state.
One of the things that's happened and always happens in these kind of emergencies is that people call 911 for the stupidest reasons, like I can't get toilet paper. What are the guidelines for calling 911?
Well, 911 is really if you have an emergency, and a life-threatening emergency. And you know, what we have seen from the medical front is not as many individuals who have low-level illnesses or injuries are showing up at the ER. So thankfully, people are self-triaging, so only really sick people are going to the ER, so there's bandwidth to be able to take care of folks. So whether it's 911 or going to the emergency room, go when you really need to be there or call when you really need to do that.
What struck you about the hoarding of toilet paper and water? How did that strike you?
You know, it surprised me, and maybe that's partly because we are a family of 6. I have 4 children, so I just naturally keep some stockpiles of things because I have a pretty big household. So it surprised me, and right now I've had a hard time getting eggs. So people are hoarding eggs. I'm not really sure why, but you know, it's just one of those things. So I had to buy 2 little six packs instead of a full container of eggs. But yeah, I'm not really sure. So hopefully, you know, the fear, that anxiety, people understand that our truckers are working and supplies are getting to grocery stores, that those products that they want are there. So you don't need to hoard because the products are moving, the products are there. So I want to thank our truckers and the people who are moving goods here in the state of Nevada and across the nation.
Yeah, and we record our program right here at the Nevada Trucking Association, so we certainly are very supportive of that. The other thing, too, is that people have to understand that when you have Christmas unexpectedly in March, that it's going to take some time for those trucks to get loaded up and move the goods. There is no shortage of the goods, but you've got to get them from A to B, actually A, B, and C. And so it's still going to take a little bit of time to get everything back on the shelves. But I think the people working in grocery stores have done a phenomenal job of, you know, shutting down a little bit early and then restocking everything so that people actually can come in. But as you say, don't go in first thing in the morning and buy all the eggs because, you know, make sure somebody else gets a chance as well.
So there's really been a shift in demand, and so I know grocery stores and the suppliers are trying to meet that. And I also want to thank the folks on the front lines in healthcare and law enforcement, because they're going out in healthcare, they're seeing people every day, but law enforcement is keeping the peace. And the first thing we need of course, is safe homes and safe streets. And law enforcement takes personal risks every day, and now they've got this virus that's a potential risk to them too. So I want to thank law enforcement as well as the medical providers.
Do you have concern with the amount of guns that have flown off the shelves and the amount of ammunition that's been sold in the last couple of weeks about civil unrest?
At this point, I'm not concerned at all about that, but I think people want to make sure that they're safe, and they have concerns. And again, we've talked about the fear and the anxiety. So we need to continue to get the message out that you can stay safe, you can keep your family safe by keeping a distance, by washing your hands, by coughing into your elbow. If you need to interact socially or you want to interact socially, get online. You can do it that way. So I really don't have that fear, but I think that happens anytime when there's significant uncertainty, which we're facing right now.
As you look at the depth of the financial crisis, which is unbelievable, I mean, every rule has been thrown out the window. People who are against federal debt, people who are for federal debt, all say that we can afford the trillions of dollars that are going to go towards saving this economy. So, I mean, you're going to be writing a whole new economic playbooks. But if you were to look at this, say realistically, and there are no dates, but let's say, for argument's sake, that by the middle of May, that we are able to return back to normal in terms of interacting, so the economy can start moving again. With your experience with what happened in the Great Recession, how long do you think it's going to take for Nevada to get back to normal?
Well, I think it's going to take a little while. And I was listening this morning to the radio in China, and I also was reading the Wall Street Journal, and it takes a while to ramp back up because the demand has changed, the demand has shifted. Folks have found other suppliers. Now we have a heavily service-based economy here with gaming, and we tend to lead and lag. We tend to be a place where people stop visiting. They don't use their discretionary income early during times of crises, and it takes a while for them to get back. So it's going to take some time, but we will get there. The United States economy is robust, and we were really growing so strongly that we will return. It's just going to take some time. And part of our recovery, the timing of the recovery, is going to be based on this bridge again. How can we economically bridge families, make sure people stay employed, make sure folks have resources to get through this near-term period to recover more rapidly when we know we can.
So to be realistic, a year and a half, do you think, for the industry, the tourism industry, to come back?
Full force, I'm not sure how long, but I'm confident that people will come back to Nevada and will come back to Reno and Las Vegas. Fortunately, in northern Nevada, we have quite a diversified tech-based economy, so we have been more resilient in the past and will be more resilient moving forward. But gaming, again, is 17% of general revenues for the state of Nevada, so we will be impacted at the state level.
Should the governor call a special session?
At this time, I don't think there's any expectation of a special session. When we went through the recession, some of the statute was changed, so the executive branch has more authority to make cuts or to make some changes to move money around in times of crises. And I believe we'll see more and more from the executive branch. And then the legislative branch, they'll be starting in February. So we're not that, it seems kind of crazy, but it comes pretty fast as far as when the legislative branch will be meeting during a regular session.
It'll be fascinating to see whether we actually meet in person or whether it's a virtual session. But with our friends at Zoom, we have the ability to do that now. Thank you so much for coming in. And once again, your Teletown Hall will be tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and people can find it on Facebook and share with their friends so that everybody can be informed.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for coming in
Thank
today.
You, Sam.
We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
You can now watch Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search for Nevada Newsmakers and become a subscriber. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching and listening.